This is Paranormal Short Session 3. I'm at the tombstone. I'm Keith Evans. I'm at the tombstone of William D. Campbell. He was born September 22nd, looks like 1882. He passed away December 9th, looks like 1902. Please correct me, Mr. Campbell, if I'm wrong. Hi, I'm Keith Evans. Mr. Campbell's tombstone, I guess you could say it almost has moss or something growing on it. It's almost like a pinkish tombstone. If there's some way it could be cleaned that doesn't deteriorate the stone, I think it would be a good idea. It'd probably help preserve it. Whatever's growing on it's probably going to deteriorate it a lot more than trying to clean it. But as you can see, it's leaning forward. The name behind it looks like G-A-M. It's Campbell, C-A-M-B. I can see the E-L. L, Campbell. And that is pinkish too. So I guess they had that first, possibly. And then this little piece in between, I guess, is the same as part of the area that surrounds the family plot here of, I guess, maybe, at least two people. And this is James M. Campbell that I did during Paranormal Session 1. He's got the same backing, except the trees pushed it up to the point that you can't really see, his name like you can over here. I'm going to be using my Obelisk 5, Mr. William D. Campbell. If I've gotten your birth date or your death date wrong due to the fact that I can't see it from the moss or whatever is growing on your tombstone, please correct me. That'll be my question for you, or if you're not here, any ghost or spirit that wants to communicate that may know. Thank you. Oh, again, I'm going to be using this on social media. Instagram, YouTube. Some of it may be on Twitter. So if you don't want to be on those forms of modern electronic media, it's kind of like the old TV and radio used to be, but it's combined. And you can get it whenever you want to get it. So if you don't want to be on those social medias, please let me know and just don't communicate. We probably won't know you're here unless you choose a word from the Obelisk 5B. As you can see, there's a little bit of wind blowing. So, all right. Okay, I turned on the Obelisk 5. 2. All right. Maybe it's 1902. Death, December 1902. Oh, maybe it's 1882. Got some more words. Group. You see there's a group. There's more than 2 people buried here. Group. Or there's a group visiting me now, communicating with me. That'll be fine. I don't mind. I'll talk to a group of ghosts and spirits. I'm glad to have you here with me today. So let's look. So possibly it's September 22nd, 1882 that Mr. William D. Campbell passed away. And also possibly the 2 stands for Mr. William D. Campbell passed away on December 9th of 1902. So thank you, if that's you, Mr. Campbell, for the correction, or thank you to any ghost or spirit that knew about those dates and were able to help me obtain the facts about those dates. Thank you very much. Well, that's the cedar tree that's right behind Mr. James M. Campbell. And then there's a smaller cedar tree right behind Mr. William D. Campbell. So I would imagine by the look at these cedar trees and how large they are, that they might have been here when the graves were actually dug, because they passed away in 1912 and 1902 respectively. James M. Campbell passed away in 1912, and William D. Campbell passed away in 1902. So I think these cedar trees are probably every bit of that age. That'd be roughly a little over 120 years for the one cedar tree, and then roughly 110 for the other cedar tree. I think it's very much possible. I guess this one might be considered a blue spruce, and this one might be too, because they kind of look bluish in color. I'll try to take you closer to it. Some people believe that every living thing has a spirit. So trees usually live a lot longer than we do. So I don't doubt that trees have a spirit. Mr. Campbell, Mr. William D. Campbell, what do you think about the trees? Do you think the trees have a spirit? That was me saying hey to a neighbor who's going by on a golf cart. Mr. Campbell, is there anything else that you would like me to know about your life or your history? This is your moment to be heard. It seems like being here, it's a pretty peaceful place, especially under the cedar trees. It's, I must feel that I think and feel that you probably feel the same way. If I'm wrong, let me know. Mr. Campbell, I see that you don't have a log on top of yours, but it looks like you have kind of like the Florida state seal with "In God We Trust" below it. It's kind of round. It's hard to see it, but it looks like someone standing there with some type of crown on their head. And it looks like there's mountains in the background. And there's really no mountains in Florida at all. So that's unusual. Maybe from the seal from where you once lived before you moved here. So, yeah, today seems to be a very low energy day. My blood pressure still was staying normal without any blood pressure medicine, which thank God for that. I never thought that would happen in a million years. And it's nice. I hope it lasts. I guess as your health improves, you have a lot less worries. Anyway, I try to make my videos interesting. Just thinking about this pink marble, it's not from Florida. I don't think any pink marble comes from Florida, and I think that the neighboring one is pink too. You might be able to see it a little bit back here, but with this, I don't know whether it's moss growing on the two tombstones that are right underneath of these cedar trees, or whether it's cedar sap that gets on there and turns green like that after it ages. And there might be some bird droppings mixed in with that from the birds nesting in the trees. So, but it would be nice if there was some type of way to clean this off without damaging the tombstones. I mean, as I look around, it's somewhat of a little hill. If there was some way they had funds to plant some type of grass that would grow, even if they had to pay someone to mow it, it would look so not much nicer. And a lot of times, vacationers are drawn to a place that looks nice. Anyway, that's just a thought. I also like to tell everyone about the new magazine, American Paranormal magazine. I have an article in that magazine for the May issue, and the article's called Doppelganger. And it's a positive experience that I had with what I feel is a doppelganger. And I would just like everyone to, buy the magazine. I didn't really go into details about how I knew it was actually a doppelganger, but the healthcare professional that came to me that day and told me that the internal bleeding had stopped, later on, I continued to see that healthcare provider for maybe 2 years, 3 years after the situation where the bleeding had stopped. And that healthcare provider told me that they did not tell me that day. But whoever did tell me that did look like the healthcare provider. I think we got group, waves, God. I had group before. Group is Group. Waves, Aves, and God, God. Waves, God. Maybe they're saying that's the way of God. Send in a ghost or spirit that looks like someone you trust to help you. I think if I would have went in back into surgery, they might have caused it to start bleeding again, because it's a very delicate area where that ibuprofen laid, upper GI, where the ibuprofen laid and melted over the years. It kind of erodes the wall of your esophagus, and it makes it weak and more vulnerable to bleeding. So if it can stop on its own without any intervention, it's much better. Stab. Well, I don't feel any stab. I'll look behind me to make sure there's nobody there to stab me. No, I don't see anybody. So, you might be asking, was the internal bleeding caused by a stab? No, it was caused by what I believe is where the ibuprofen that I took for years for my back pain and my knee pain. I continued to take it so I could, continue to get retirement from the Army Reserves. You have to have a certain amount of time in. And also wanted a retirement from the federal government. So I was lucky enough to stay in and get that. And in the meantime, the ibuprofen helped with the pain. So, yes, I think that waves, like ocean waves, sometimes I think they might have been looking for the ways of God, as if the doppelganger was sent by God to help in this situation so I would not go back to surgery because the bleeding had stopped. And I took the advice of what I now know to be a doppelganger, and the bleeding had stopped. That day by 3 or 4, the nurse had come and told me that they did a lab test and my red blood cell count was going up. So that's how they knew that the bleeding had stopped. All right, enough about me. Let's get back to William D. Campbell. William D. Campbell. I got the word stab. Are you saying that maybe you were stabbed? Waves got and stabbed. So, did you work on a boat? Were you a fisherman or captain of a boat or worked on a boat? I guess you were religious. You believed in God. And stab. Are you talking about like having stabbing pains, like chest pain, back pain? I try to take every word and go in every which direction that the ghost or spirit who chose that word may be leading me to go. That's what I would suggest. And sometimes you might have 2 or 3 possibilities of what is being communicated to you. Well, three possibilities of what's being communicated to. Well, let's go over the possibilities. Maybe waves, maybe William D. Campbell worked on a boat. God, maybe he believed in God. Stab, maybe his death was caused by a physical stabbing, or he had stabbing chest pain when he passed away. So 3 possibilities. Thank you. That's definitely an intelligent response. And I've been standing here, I guess, almost 18 minutes, 12 seconds, and I think that's like 6 words. And at least 2 or 3 of the words were right on the money as far as what I was talking about. So that's pretty good as far as intelligent communication. And I'd like to remind everyone to check out the American Paranormal magazine. Right now, my internet is weak where I'm at my new apartment. It's nice, and the internet's going to be installed on Friday, thank God. And right now, you can go to American Paranormal, I think it's zine.com, to order an American Paranormal magazine. But check it out. Just do a search for American Paranormal magazine, and that should bring you right up. I think they do like 7 issues a year. This is their first year. Their sales are good. Their magazine is good. And I've written 1 article. So check out May issue for my article Doppelganger. And that is American Paranormal magazine. All right, I'm going to be finishing up. This is Paranormal Short Session 3. We're at the grave of William D. Campbell. And I am Keith Evans. And today is Wednesday, 27th April, 2022. Thank you and have a good day. Well, believe it or not, it's not allowing me to turn it off. Do you want to let me know what you need to say so I can end this paranormal session? That was a golf cart going down the alley, which I'm close to. All right, would you turn off the video camera for me since you won't allow me to turn it off? This is usually what goes on behind the scene with electronics. I would love to stay here in the video for a long period of time, but how about if we end for this time, and I'll try to be back next week. How does that sound, Mr. William D. Campbell?